Okay, the time is now 6:45. I'd like to call this meeting to order for the pension board for May 11th. Roll call.
Mike Supranat, Tom Zingowitz,
Kevin Cunningham.
Stephanie Walsh.
Thank you. Item C would be public comment. Anybody here from the public wish to speak on the pension board? Okay, hearing none. Item D is to approve minutes for the pension board meeting dated 3/9/26.
I'll make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from 3/9/26. Second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
I'll abstain.
And you'll abstain, okay, good. All right. There is no old business. We go into new business. There are 3 requests for pension distributions. We'll go one at a time. First one up is a Melissa Brisson. So Melissa, I'm looking at these dates, has different former custodian at the Board of Education.
It appears that it's recommended for $164.81 a month if she wants to collect now at the age of her retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Verifying age 57 would be now, yeah.
Yep. And she wants to do commence on 5/1, so I'd say that's what it is.
Yep. So we have to have a motion for that, please.
I'll make a motion to accept Melissa Brisson's retirement benefit starting at 5/1/2026 at $164.81 a month.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We'll go to the next one, which is also from the Board of Education. This is for surviving family member. So we are looking for, as you can see with the email that was attached to it at the end, since Scott was married and an active participant when he passed, there's a benefit due to the spouse that should have started on April 1st, 2025. That was his normal retirement date. So if we're making the motion, make sure that that is part of the motion. Start date April 1, 2025. Because they have a surviving spouse that has 50%, that's why the number that was suggested would be 582.36.
I'll make a motion for the retirement benefit to the spouse of Scott that have started April 1st, 2025 in the amount of $582.36 a month.
What's the last name of this?
Savoy, Savoid.
I would second that.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And the third one, somebody we work with here every day. So we have a request. Right number? I guess you have to. Oh, thank you. All right, so we have Dodi Minow, who has been with us for a long time. Date of hire January 6, 1997. Almost 30 years, but she's at 29.41, and she is asked to retire. So again,
I don't see when it's going to start, Kevin.
it would be effective 5/1 as well.
5/1?
Yep.
In the amount of $1,618.28 a month.
Can I stop you there for a second? I apologize. Take a look in the top right-hand corner. It says starting June 1st.
Yeah.
Yep, sorry.
I see that.
So for Dodi, it would be June 1st, 2026, 16/18/28.
I'll make a motion for Dodi Minow for her retirement benefits to start June 1st, 2026 in the amount of $1,618.28.
I will second that.
say aye.
Aye.
And Dodie, we will miss you. There is no other item on the agenda. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I'll collect all that because I get to shred it.
Yep.
All right, the time is now 7 o'clock. I'd like to call this Board of Selectmen meeting to order for May 11th and ask you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and roll call.
Mike Supra. Tom Sinkowitz.
Kevin Cunningham. There are a couple items here for item C to approve the meeting minutes from the Board of Selectmen meeting 4/27/26, a special Board of Selectmen meeting on 4/30/26, and a special Board of Selectmen meeting on 5/5.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from the Board of Selectmen on 4/27, special Board of Selectmen on 4/30, and special Board of Selectmen on 5/5/26.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Item G is public comment. Anybody here from the public wish to speak tonight? And you know, if you could just turn that on, it's just off right now.
Naomi Smith, Community Avenue. So I was going over some Board of Selectmen meeting minutes from June 30th of 2025, where there was money approved for the communication systems in this room. And I'm wondering how come the town of Plainfield is not like live streaming or videoing its own minutes and creating like retention policy and storage policy for the residents. Is the
We
equipment
are,
capable of doing that?
to some degree.
Okay.
The issue is we have to have somebody monitoring in the back of the room, turning it off, turning it on, and then from there editing. I'm also working with FOI to make sure we're doing it properly. If we're creating and saving the files over onto a YouTube page, how do we do that creation? So I'm in the process of doing that.
So it only has videoing capabilities, not live streaming capabilities?
It does have those capabilities, but we haven't turned them on yet.
Okay. How long are you anticipating it's going to take?
Hopefully within the next 2 months.
Okay, that'd be nice.
And Kevin, just for clarification, we're not missing any equipment needed for that service, right? Okay.
No, just the ability to start it, stop it, and then be able to keep it to a folder and edit it properly.
Okay.
A number of years ago, for those who are now on board, a couple of years ago, I actually designated some monies in the budget that would be taking up to pay for that person. As in right now, we don't have that, obviously, so I'd have to have volunteers at this point. Anybody else?
John Almost Central Village. I'm currently a Capital Strategic Plan Commission member, and the information that I'm about to tell you has been already forwarded to the chair of that committee. I'd like to make a few comments on the Capital Strategic Plan.
Sure.
Summer of 2024, the ECC building was vacated, and there was really no information to the town at that time, but then Plainfield town took possession of it in October of 2024. In January of 2026, there was a presentation on potential sale of the building. No other use had been really researched or presented to the town at that time. And now one of the tasks of the CSPC, the strategic plan, is the disposition of the ECC. In March of 2026, the committee voted to and approved a recommendation to utilize this building for potential use as a new town hall. The following statements are in support of that. Once sold, that building will be gone. Any requirement for keeping historic character will disappear very quickly after another sale to a shell corporation and would not be enforceable probably anyway. The debt load of Plainfield right now is at an all-time low, and is much lower than any surrounding community. But this places Plainfield in an excellent position to do something significant with the early childhood center, the ECC building, beneficial to the townspeople instead of losing it to a private interest. This is a unique opportunity for these four villages. And the current sale offers seem to be unacceptably below replacement value, let alone assessed value for that building. And I don't see that would provide a lot of benefit to the town. Now is an opportunity actually to strategically plan for the future of these four villages. And Plainfield can take care to maximize the return of investment into Plainfield and village's future, incorporating the needs of the community and what to preserve, what to create, and what to change. That's the Plainfield residents to decide and pursue. Thanks for the opportunity to speak.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Okay, we can go right to the next item, which there is old business. There actually is no old business for us to discuss. Under new business, item number 1, consider an act on tax refunds as requested by the tax collector totaling $605.27, Rachel A. Mead $28.22, Rachel A. Mead $187.26, and Rachel A. Mead $152.57, and another one from CoreLogic, centralized refunds from $237.22, grand total $605.
I'll make a motion that we approve the tax refunds as requested by the tax collector totaling $605.27.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item number 2, discuss and act on a resolution to authorize Economic Development Director Shannon Fagan to serve as the town's designated authorized representative for the purpose of accessing and acting on behalf of the town within the USDA Rural Development application, or for RD, it's called RD. So what is your pleasure there?
I have no issue with Shannon being the authorized representative. Just one thing I wanted to clarify was, are we doing this as a step 1 because we're about to make a move and we're looking into something of this time?
Oh, she looks and reviews rural grant developments all the time, so in case there needs to be, we have to have somebody designated.
Okay, so there is no specific one right now?
Right.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to authorize Shannon Fagan to serve as the town's designated authorized representative for the USDA Rural Development application and grant.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 3, discuss a report that was given to us by the Capital Strategic Committee. Peggy, if you would take the mic.
So we made a recommendation, some preliminary recommendations to meet the future needs of the town of Plainfield. Those recommendations were, we'd like to move, our recommendations to the selectmen are to move the town hall to the ECC, make that a media center in the basement, and put all the town hall entities in there. We are running out of room here. I've talked to many people, as my committee has as well. And we'd like to see that building be used for that. We'd then like to have a recommendation to take the rec center, the senior center, and the historical society and put it into this building. That over there is bursting at the seams. The historical center is like so packed up, they can't put any of their stuff. The rec center needs to have more room, and this has a pool in it. There's a pool downstairs where the rec center is. We can still use this for community space, that type of thing. We'd like to recommend to sell the rec center. The rec center is one of our older buildings. Not that this isn't the oldest building, but the rec center needs a lot of work. You've done a lot, we've done a lot of work here over the years into this building, but as far as the rec center is concerned, that is bursting at the seams and needs more help. We'd like to make one other recommendation. is John Van Olson has offered to make a documentation of all the town's buildings with descriptions and pictures. He's done some extensive research on that. He can't find anything that has where this is the building at 24 Main Street. And here's what the description is, and here's a picture. He has offered to do that voluntarily. He's offered to make it documented, so that we aren't searching everywhere for what does the town own and where does it own it. Do you have any questions? Oh, that's barring the RFP that we also have to talk about at the next meeting. We need an RFP to figure out what exactly does the town own, where do they own it, and how do they own it, and what condition is it in with the pictures. Any questions at all?
A few. If I could, I would ask that at your next meeting, you ask to modify the minutes of the meeting, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
The minutes of your meeting do not include votes. They are required to by the state of Connecticut.
Okay.
So if you could do that, it would be great.
I'll make sure that's done by my secretary.
I would ask if the other board members have
Do you need them by, Kevin, excuse me, do you need them by name or do you need them by number?
No, in other words, if you vote unanimous, that's fine, just say that. If you have anybody that abstained or anybody that voted no.
Okay, so you don't like 3 to 4?
Nope.
Just making sure.
Yep.
I'll just comment and say that I was fortunate I was able to make it out to that meeting. I know the other 2 board members were not able to. I thought personally it was a very productive meeting. One of the things that I really enjoyed, being the only one in the room, is just seeing the collaboration between the members. It didn't matter about political affiliation or history in the town, who'd been here longer. What I saw is that there's a group of people who are very passionate about this town and really want to do what is right for the town, again, regardless of who they vote for and what their affiliation is. So I really enjoyed watching that. And then in the end, coming to a consensus. All those 3 recommendations, there was a couple questions or comments or clarifications, but once that was off the table, it became very clear which way you're going. So I have a lot of respect for this committee. I'm very happy that it's moving along. Obviously, we have a long way to go. I'm talking about our buildings, but I support the recommendations. I guess the only other thing I want to mention is just that there needs to be a clarification to the public that just because you made the recommendations doesn't mean it's skipping any steps or expediting the process. I had one citizen who told me that they thought that this was like sidestepping the Board of Selectmen, or that it was not following the correct process, and I disagree, with that statement. I believe that you guys did what you were asked to do, which is you had discussion, you made a recommendation that came back to us, we're discussing it for the public record, but of course we're still going to do our due diligence, and of course the building is still going to get assessed, and of course it's still going to go to town, referendum for us to vote on and decide as a town, so we're going to do those steps, we just don't have an exact date yet as far as when that's going to happen. So but when that time comes, it can at least be said that we as a Board of Selectmen did hear your recommendations, and the townspeople will decide if they want to agree with that recommendation or if they're going to vote against it when they eventually vote on the future of that building. As far as the other 2 recommendations, I think those were a good idea. We should have an adequate inventory of our buildings that's a little bit more informative with history, maybe a couple photos, because there's many in this town, whether they're volunteers on a board or commission, or if they're just simply a new resident who's only been here for a year or 2, they're not familiar with what all our buildings look like. They don't necessarily have any reason to drive out to them, but it really would be informative to them if they wanted to learn more about our town, if they could simply access this public inventory of buildings. So I'm certainly for it, and I appreciate the fact that John, as a citizen, is willing to help work on that. So I would want to support him from the town, obviously, with those efforts. And then as far as the RFP, that one I think we're going to need to be a little bit more specific on, because we need to get that ball rolling. But if there's specific recommendations from individual members on the committee, then you're probably going to want to email those. Obviously, email them to Kevin. Feel free to email them to all of us as far as what do you want to see exactly in it.
We need to go over the RFP with Kevin, because the RFP that was sent out to us is vanilla. It's very generic. There's not a lot of information in it. So, and I emailed Kevin that we need to talk more about that and get it more set in stone as to what is it that we're looking for, and what buildings are we looking for. And that's why I prefaced this with preliminary recommendations. That's what we were tasked to do, to give recommendations. We weren't tasked to upsurge anybody or go ahead of you guys or anybody in the town.
We're just here to give you some ideas of what, that we've all collected in the town, that people have talked to us about, and then come together as a committee and make sure that, you know, we bring these ideas up, and then as a committee, if we agree, we send them on to you.
I think as a board, you could probably make, or start that RFP in your next meeting on what you would like and what you would like to see, and then we can get that, obviously all can work on that together. My next question was just off the top of my head, town meetings or anything along those lines, would they still be held here in the auditorium?
Absolutely, we can use this as a committee, this is a community room.
Yeah, I'm just
Yep.
throwing that out
No,
there.
I did put that just now. It's a community room. This hall is big enough for, I don't know, like 400 people.
Right, I was just asking.
No, this wouldn't be just solely to rec.
I appreciate, obviously, all the work that the committee has done. I appreciate that. Do you need any type of motion for John Van Olson to document anything with the buildings from us?
I don't think so. We'd like a description with it, attached with pictures, is what we're trying to do. Because right now, all we have is a generic vanilla list that, if you look at it, you go looking as a town, for me as a town citizen, I just got the address. I don't have a picture. I mean, if you go sell your house or you go look at my house, you're going to see it on Zillow with a picture of the house.
I get it.
We just want to do that for the town.
Okay.
So I don't think we need anything like that. I mean, it's, John can collect all this information and then present it to you guys. How would that work out? And then you guys can make whatever motions are necessary.
Yeah, that's fine. I certainly just want to make sure that we, as the town, are supporting you as a town committee with providing you with the information necessary to get these tasks done. You know, I certainly don't want a lot of time to go by where we're just kind of talking about things we'd like to see, and then another month goes by and there's been no progress as far as getting you the resources or information.
Oh, don't worry, I'll be the first one to tell you.
Right. So as each month goes by, like at your upcoming meeting, please give an update, you know, on where do we stand, you know, where does John stand with putting together the inventory? Does he still need anything from us? And obviously, as we have our selectmen meetings, if there's anything we need to do as far as a motion or anything, we can bring that up.
We've been meeting since January, so that we just wanted to bring this to your attention to let you know what's been going on, like you just said, and what we've come to so far.
John
It's a
looks like
long
he's got
time.
something to say too.
If I make a couple comments.
Yeah.
The database, there is a digital information. If you go online, you can find digital descriptions from the GIS website on properties that are listed in Plainfield, and there's a document for that. But it doesn't exist in a easily identifiable form in a book. And the other issue I'm finding is that there's a number of properties where it's not clear where they are. And if you go to a Google search, they're at a zero, like a zero Shepherd's Hill or something like that. The problem with that is that Google will give you an incorrect location. So there's no easy way to know where those are. So those are the two things that I'm trying to deal with, and then I just want to put it all in one form with the photo, so that it's really easy to see all the stuff that Plainfield has, and then we can address. There's only there's a much shorter list of buildings that really are going to be targeted with the kind of evaluation that the committee needs to go through. A lot of them are just vacant land, or they're already maintained, a low level of maintenance is needed. So it's not something that's going to take very long to the summer.
I think it's a great idea.
I was just going to ask the question of, the next question, which really is, what's your thought on the motion from the capital committee about moving the town hall and moving the rec center?
As I said, I support all three recommendations there, but as I clarified, we're certainly not taking any action on that at this time because we have a process that's got to be followed now. So I think it was good that we just had some time tonight to discuss it. But me personally, I support certainly the recommendations that you make. I think, again, having been at that meeting and having witnessed you guys come to those conclusions, I thought it was great. But again, that's just my personal opinion. Obviously, I know there's people in this town who will disagree with all three of those and think that they're not necessary as far as what you guys recommend. And that's fine. Not everybody is going to agree with the findings of that committee. Not everybody agrees with the decisions of the Board of Selectmen, but that's why we have these meetings to discuss it, and this is why we will eventually send it out to the people to decide.
And And if you look at the, we've all been in that center, we've all been in the historical society place, and it's very, very cramped. There's stuff everywhere you look. I mean, you can touch, feel it, taste it, you can do whatever. It's very, very tight. We need to, that's something we need to do. We also need a library/media. I know people don't say, we don't do books anymore, but we have a lot of homeschooled kids in town, okay? They need to be supported too. Their parents are paying taxes, all right? Can't get into high school at nighttime to do your paper, and Aldridge is only open during the day. I love Aldridge, it's a great place, but this town needs to be do a little bit more for those kids that need to have access to computers, access to, different information. It's very important that we support all our kids, not just the kids in our, in our education at the high school, the elementary schools.
Yeah, I have quite a few questions. First off, your minutes from the meeting from April 26th, those were the actual motions?
There's a lot, there's quite a few.
Well, it says here, recommendation to the selectmen, move the town hall facilities to the current ECC building on 151 Norwich Road. It's supposed to be 651, but that's minor.
There's a lot of corrections.
Just allow me to go through. Move the rec senior center to 482 Norwich Road to the current town holiday community and sell the current recreation center, senior center at 482 Norwich Road. Motion was made by Mike Rhodes, seconded by Joe Sermongo. That's the motion.
There's a lot of motions that need to be changed in here. There's a lot of information that will be amended when we go in our meeting.
Okay, so that was the motion.
Repeat it?
That was the motion?
No, I said repeat what you just said.
The motion that you made that night, it says here, recommendation
Yes,
to move the town hall, the current ECC,
yes,
move the recreation center to the current town hall,
yep.
and sell the current recreation senior center.
Yes, that was exactly.
All right. So the following day, you sent me an email. In the email, it states that you moved the town hall and historic society to the ECC with a media center library in the basement. Move the rec center, senior center to the current town hall. So again, I asked what the motion was because you added things that were different.
What's in here, and what I emailed you is that.
All right. What is a media center?
The media center is somewhere where kids can go to use computers, do research on their projects. Kind of like a library, only libraries aren't as important as they used to be.
Not just kids, everybody.
Everybody, yeah. There's a lot of parents that need to, if you're going to college at nighttime and you don't have access to internet, we need a place to go. We need to support those efforts. The better educated our people are, the better off we are. As far as taxpayers are concerned.
I just wanted to let you know that it caught me off guard that you had a motion and then included other things in an email.
Okay, I'll correct that email.
I guess we need some more definition to be documented as to the media center and what type of library we're looking at to be included. Now, when you're saying move the town hall over to the ECC building, you're talking about all offices?
All the offices and everything. That's determined by the RFP. For what buildings we need to know what buildings we're going to do, what we're going to have them look at, see what the uses are now, that type of thing.
Okay. Just to play the devil's advocate, we accept this and then we move on to what as Board of Selectmen?
I don't think it's an action item. I don't think
It's not. No, I'm just saying, what is the process? Because what we have in front of us doesn't have any numbers, estimates at all. And it doesn't say where the funding's coming from either, because this is what we have to turn over to the Board of Finance and go to the public.
Yeah, and this commission is 4 months old, so I don't think they have their feet underneath them yet, and they're just starting the process.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point because we had a meeting on January 12th, us. We talked about selling the building. We said no, and I asked the reasons why the no. It was because you want to have all the assessments done before we even start on talking about the ECC. And all the assessments have not been done on all the other buildings.
Right, so I guess, Kevin, you missed what I said earlier, so I'll repeat it. By us discussing these recommendations tonight, that doesn't change anything. So if you're trying to send a message here that we're not keeping our word or that we're not following what we said back in January, I disagree with that. It's true, we did say we wanted to go through a thorough assessment process, and we will. And I specifically said earlier that we are not sidestepping that or going some different route. We are just discussing tonight with zero action on this, and it's going to continue to run its course and eventually be determined by the taxpayers. So I'm not quite sure where you were going with that.
I can tell you where I'm going with the idea was we had a capital strategic planning committee policy, whether you call it policy, whether you call it guidance. If you take a look at the first page, it talks about all the things that weren't done, evaluating current and future needs of municipal education buildings. We're talking about established project prioritization, recommending actionable next steps to address maintenance upgrades, new needs, develop a bonding strategy that balances fiscal responsibility. It talks about ensuring clear and transparent communications with public regarding planning. That's just the first page. We go on to the second, which is responsibilities to conduct and coordinate evaluations of all municipal buildings, recommended phase implementation. Then it goes to capital improvement planning, aligned and long-term capital planning with the town's adopted capital improvement policy, identify estimated project costs and timing, recommend funding strategies, not limited to capital non-recurring funds, local capital improvement, bonding, grants. Then it goes to talk about the bonding itself, the strategy for bonding, and then it talks about the public communications being transparent. Underneath the funding coordination, the committee shall recommend appropriate funding sources for each proposed capital projects. My point is simple. I don't mind the back and forth with the dialogue. What I'm concerned with is they said they're going to be, according to this, that we have to have that information to go forward. We don't, before a recommendation was even made.
But we do.
We do. We haven't even, we're 4 months old. We haven't even started. You haven't even given us the RFP yet. You gave us a vanilla RFP with no town building, no nothing on it. So
again, that's why I was saying, why would there be any recommendation if you haven't looked at all the buildings yet?
What we've talked about and giving you an update.
I think what they're doing is what everybody else has been saying in the public, that they just want communication of what's happening, what's going on. That's why we just talked about it. We're not taking any action on it. We know that that committee still needs to get us more information, and we know that we're not going to do anything without, obviously, a town vote for people being allowed to voice their opinion and vote on that. I don't see any problem. Like, I know everywhere I go, people ask me about the trash plant. People ask me about 1,000,001 things that we're not talking about at these meetings because we don't have good communication. I think it's good communication. They're letting us know what they've done so far. They know it's a long road to hoe. They still have a lot more work to do.
Is it a problem because it's not your idea?
So I'll ask again to Peggy.
You can ignore it, but it's true.
Well, you have a process in which Peggy, she's the chairperson. The funding sources, do you have an idea what you're going to do from funding sources?
Kevin, this is not what this is about.
Yeah, it is.
No, it isn't. You're not listening to any of us except for what you want to hear. I already said.
I heard what you had to say. I'm giving my opinion on it, and you're not listening to me at all.
I am listening to you. You're not listening to what I just said, so I'm not going to argue with you, Kevin. All I'm telling you is we're just giving this is information of stuff we've talked about. We've been 4 months of meeting. We're giving you, the Board of Selectmen, an update, in case they didn't get to see our minutes that need a lot of work. We're making sure you know what we talked about and what some of our recommendations are. There's no funding source for this. There's none of that because we're not even that far ahead. We're not even that far along. We get very, very little support.
We don't even know what our funding options are.
I'd like to be able to,
You want to use some time,
we have no idea what the estimates are either.
Well,
She's
no,
gonna speak
nobody
up.
does. That's why you've got to start with a plan. You've got to start at the beginning of the road down here, and then you investigate what this is going to cost, what that's going to cost. Well, first off, what does the people in the town want to do? Do they have another idea? We're a committee that wants to do whatever the town wants to do, but here is 9 to 11 people, depending on the night, who've gotten together, who take their time and spend, like you do, but we don't get paid for it.
So the bottom line is, I'd like to thank you and your committee for number 1, all your work. Number 2, for communicating with us and where you stand, where you're at. Number 3, when you leave here today, you're looking for an RFP, correct?
Yes.
And you and the committee will start to write that RFP, share it with the Board of Selectmen, and we'll fine tune it. Is that what we're looking for?
Well, no, the Board of Select, not the Board of Selectmen, but the grant writer And Shannon was supposed to give us the RFP so we could look it over before it went any further. So we could make sure that all the buildings that we had discussed in January and February were documented on it. What I received was a RFP that was very blank, there was not a lot of information in it. So we wanted to have a dialogue with Mr. Cunningham at our next meeting about what does this, we need more information on this RFP. We can't do anything other than recommendations and thoughts and plans if we don't have, okay, different buildings. What are their assets? What are their, like the school did. Okay, the school made sure every room was audited, and we don't gotta go that far, but they made sure that every room was audited. You knew what the building was used for, what it was currently used for, what it's been used for, all that information. You need that information, but we need the RFP to do that.
Would you be able to give me a list of what you'd like to have on the RFP?
Yes, we've discussed that before, and you were at the meeting. But I'll make sure you get that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just say, again, I appreciate the fact of you coming out tonight, and there's nothing wrong with the way you went about presenting these recommendations. Again, nothing is set in stone. The people have yet to decide. It's going to run its course as it was originally discussed back in January. Nothing's changed there. I appreciate this, and honestly, I'm hoping that periodically, as we get through spring, summer, and fall, you're going to come back to us and give us more recommendations and more updates. That's what I personally want to see at upcoming Board of Selectmen meetings. Again, knowing that they're just recommendations and nothing is set in stone. And you did not violate any policy or anything either. Policies, as we have discussed now for months, are being considered, still being tweaked. We will be eventually looking to revisit those policies and adopt. And hopefully they will be helpful and make things more efficient. But again, the way in which you presented this, there's no issue with it, but just as was pointed out with the meeting minutes, obviously you need to look into making sure those get
I've already got
updated.
notes on the meeting minutes to be corrected at our next meeting. This was our last meeting. We haven't had a committee meeting to correct these notes. And like all other meetings, you have to, okay, this is wrong, this one did this, that one did that. With the recommendations of Mr. Cunningham.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
On to number 4, discuss and act on town seal policy.
Kevin, I have 2 sections that I'm working on right now for this policy before we look to adopt it. Obviously, the text is not in there. It's still a work in progress, but those 2 sections that I'm going to look to add to the policy is regarding the lapel pins, like what you have there, what I have here, and then use of the town seal on social media pages, basically community pages that are not actually administered by the town of Plainfield. We have, of course, our town Plainfield official Facebook page that has the seal on it. That's appropriate, but we need to obviously evaluate if there's other community pages out there that are possibly using the seal, and would they be authorized to do it. So a section elaborating on this in the policy is necessary in today's current day and age, where we have I think probably 10 to 12 different community pages, and they have no supervision. These are people anybody out of the community can create a page, and they could just cut and paste our town seal and put it on it to think that they're authorized to do it. So this policy would need to go into that as far as our
Talking about a copyright?
Yeah. Okay, so it could be viewed as that, but somebody's going to look at copyright and they're not necessarily going to see the reference made to social media. So there needs to be a better explanation and breakdown. So yeah, it would fall into the category of copyright, but needs to be elaborated on more. And then as far as the lapel pins, that's no different. Whether you display a town seal on a car, on yourself, you make a sign, you friggin' wear a shirt, whatever you do with the town seal, it all gets looked at the same way. So we need to elaborate more on, we issue town seal lapel pins to all appointed and elected officials. So we need to explain basically what are the do's and don'ts about wearing that town seal. So those are my 2 recommendations that, again, getting feedback from the public. I've been talking to a lot of people about it since they've been noticing us, discussing this recently on the agenda. So, working on putting together these proposals, and I'll of course send them to you. But until we get to a point where we could look at putting those into a rough draft, I would not want to personally accept what we have in front of us.
Mike, any comment? Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay, I just do have one. Last meeting we talked about making a modification. I would like to say that I do not agree with that modification. In looking up into the town charter under 6.2, duties of the selectmen, that would be usurping my privileges, my rights. So I would have you take a look at that. I can share that with you if you like.
Yeah, I would want some specifics on that to show me what your interpretation is, and this maybe is something we need to get a legal opinion on, obviously, because things can be easily misinterpreted in the town charter. So I know it's very, very specific as far as a board, we actually have more power than you as an individual for selectmen, and it's very specific, obviously, in the charter of the authority of the Board of Selectmen versus the authority of the first selectman. So yeah, that's something that we can look into further and possibly look into a town attorney opinion.
Sure. So would you like to table this for right now?
My biggest question is, why did this all of a sudden just come out about the town seal when it's been happening for a long time, and there's people that have been running out there with social media pages with the town seal on it, and all of a sudden this is coming out? Did something happen?
This is town property, though. I mean, we're putting this, making it look like as a person who has well, Tom, you have one yourself. You have a town seal on your vehicle, and that could be interpreted as something we shouldn't have because of insurance liabilities.
Yeah, I will tell you that there was some interesting presentation about insurance liability when it came to that recent workshop with the two attorneys, and I went and spoke to them afterwards, and I think there might be some misunderstanding when it comes to liability insurance. So that's something we can explore more too. I'm very open to getting more information and exploring that. I will tell you I also did some exploring through the PD, paid a visit to them recently, and I did find out some information there that was kind of concerning of how what is said about our police officers and the use of markings on a police car is not one and the same of an elected official with a town seal. There are huge, huge differences between an elected official using a town seal and somebody impersonating an officer or using a vehicle with markings on it, referencing an officer whether they're on or off duty. So I'm exploring that more too, because I want to make sure there's no misunderstandings or misinformation out there as far as what has happened or what the purpose of this policy is.
Okay.
So
your motion to table?
I'll make a motion to table.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
To where we were.
G other.
Yep, one more is going to be to a motion to add to the agenda the request to apply polling questions to the exit poll.
I'll make that motion to add that to the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so item 5, I did give you what was I guess a suggested polling, exit poll, which we wouldn't have to pay for. All this will be done by the polling workers themselves. The 3 questions really give us an idea of what happens if it fails or passes. Give you an idea of whether too high, too low, or just right. Those are all the 3 questions that we propose to the public. It's just a helpful guidance.
I like it.
So because of in the charter 2, I think it's 2.4F, it requires us to just make a motion to add this. And by the way, it's not going to be on the ballot, it'll be separated.
It'll be a volunteer on the
Yep.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to use the exit poll on the way out of the polls to see where we stand with the budget.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
There are a few things under the other. So again, not here. She said she would be, you all got an email just before the meeting. I didn't think it was appropriate to go out and print it, try to read the whole thing and get the interpretation. I thought she would actually be here, because she said she was. So, again, we'll put this on for the next meeting, if that's okay with you. But again, it's under other.
Can we just reach out to her either by a phone call or an email and let her know she is going to be on the budget? Because I did speak with probably another motion that we're going to put on for the property tax relief policy for the public safety volunteers, and I spoke with Chief Bellavance, who did not know this was going to be on the agenda, and he learned about it last night in a conversation when he saw it on the town's website and already had work.
Yep.
So, I mean, we got to communicate with these people so they can be here and prepared, and then you have other chiefs of fire departments that need to be here also. So I think if we reach out to Mrs. Brisson and Chief Bellavance and let them know they're going to be on the agenda as soon as we can, it would be great.
Actually, I'm going to be talking more about that in depth with the other one, so.
Okay.
So I'll ask her to show up next meeting. Discussion on possible technology Advisory Commission, that would be the next one up. Where is that? Way back. So I gave you a paper in front. I reached out to our tech new company coming in, and I asked him his opinion on it. So he gave you his no pun here, but insight, because it is Novus Insight, to pursue mitigation away from protocol networks, partially because of the collaboration that was working, actually isn't working. So they've been working with us very productively to try to do a transfer over to the new IT company. As a matter of fact, we had a person who was here 2 days a week, and they resigned because they took another position somewhere else. In the meantime, Protocol Network has not been able to find someone to fill the place. That's why I said, let's have a meeting. We did a Zoom meeting. We have the new company, Novus Insight, who has a staff member who will now be here. So that was the first part of it, and then the turnover continues, but you'll see that middle paragraph there talking about it would be counterproductive to form a technology advisory committee during this transition. Novus needs to collaborate directly with a single point of contact, and that is, as well may the finance director be successful. Insight has a partnership with the Capital Region Council, or CROG, and has a leader in the municipal space moving forward with many of the surrounding towns like Killingly, Willington, Columbia, and Putnam. It makes sense to form a similar committee in the future to allow residents to help move Plainfield forward in a different area of technology. For example, the Board of Education may want to put in a technology curriculum in the schools, and residents can ask about community Wi-Fi. But for now, they'd like to at least focus on transition. So at this time, I would say we can hold off on that till later on.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should revisit it. What I'd like to know is, could you reach out and see, and of course there's no rush on this, we have no deadline on this. Is there a time at some point in the future when we could maybe have a representative come out and basically do a quick, if they could go up to the podium like we've had with other vendors and basically, summarize what you were just saying, but it also gives them the opportunity, because they're the specialists, obviously. We're not all specialists when it comes to things like IT. So it'd be nice to have somebody here who, they do this for a living, and they could explain it to us as the Board of Selectmen, to the public, and would also give opportunities to the public of this is something that's very near and dear to him. Like we know Mr. Harmon, a notable member of our community who he works in that and made that request to us to discuss this. Once we would get a date where the vendor could come out and send a representative, I would definitely promote that as far as, well, if this is something that you wanted to see, this is your opportunity to come out and speak to him, because after that, if we feel that that's the way to go.
Right. I would need a little bit more from Mr. Harmon. I believe we can talk about it, but the ideas would be, what do they have access to? Obviously, I don't open up the files to everybody, but I see here the way it's written from Mr. Harmon. It looks like he would be the IT or cybersecurity professional being the chair. So what happens if Mr. Harmon goes away? So there is a concern. So again, we can perhaps a discussion with that, and I'll have one of the members come up from the new company, Novus Insight.
I agree, they gotta get their head around it.
Yep. The next one is discussion for establishing tax abatement for firefighters, and I do welcome that idea. For the fire departments, like to have a meet and discuss what options are available to support the firefighters in the town of Plainfield. I know there was legislation that was out there recently. I don't think anything's changed. I think it's still a max of $2,000 for an abatement. But again, I'd like to be able to understand that, and I would like to offer a meeting with all 4 fire chiefs and to sit down with our finance director, our assessor, and our tax collector, because we have to wrap our head around what is the fiscal impact. But by the way, the same thing would be said of the other woman who wants to talk about, abatement for military families. Whereas I spoke already to the assessor, she goes, it could be up to 250 to 300 people. So that's a big number to wrap around to say, well, if you're utilizing the tax abatement for those people, where does that offset to the taxes go? Same thing here with the firefighters. We just have to sit down and talk about. The next thing about that would also be, according to Connecticut General Statute 1281W, who would be doing the research and homework to verify firefighters. I mean, you have a list given by each fire chief, but again, I need to have that discussion to say, how are we going to do any verification whatsoever? So, yeah, I don't mind doing that at all. As a matter of fact, I'm going to reach out immediately after this meeting and see if we can have that meeting as soon as possible. Hope that gives you my stance on it. And
Yeah, I know they all want to come. They all obviously have different things to say or whatever it may be, but you're right. We need to look into it and see how much it's gonna cost, but we'll wait till they can all come and explain it to us.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
By the way, I think I copied and gave you the copy that Jeff did for the tax relief policy. Again, we have to eventually talk about it when it does come forward and how it comes forward. It does have to go as an ordinance, and eventually the ordinance has to go to the town.
Okay.
All right. Else.
Kevin, one thing just for reference under other for possible future meetings, can we, not at necessarily both of our meetings each month, can we give just a quick update to the public of the trash plant? You know, even if there's not a lot of progress, I know that's one of the hottest topics that when I run into people at the grocery store and when people are reaching out to me, of course, they immediately want to know what's been going on with that. And I know that you're in contact, you exchange emails, you talk to people on the phone, you meet with people in person, and so, if there's any updates you can give on that, I think the public would appreciate it, even if it's not long.
Just for up to date, right now, today, we have a letter that everybody saw online. Also, we put it online on the town's Facebook page, a letter that came in talking about they'd like smart technology would like to have an immediate answer. We're fighting that. We have 65 days to come up with a letter for being intervener. We're working on that right now with the attorney. Working on that with Coalition Zero and a couple of the groups that are looking to stop this from coming in. We will have to talk about this over the next few days because we might have to have a special, and I'm hoping we can get the budget passed and move forward. But we have to have a special meeting, in my opinion, to talk with the public about how much money would you like to put forward from the fund balance for a litigation. Because that could get to be very pricey. We're talking, I don't know, anywhere between $500,000 to $1 million in litigation because it could go a few years. So I want the public to be aware of that. I will hopefully talk about that with the attorney and then bring it back to the next meeting so that we have an idea of where we stand. We have had conversations with Coalition Zero. We have been talking about how we work collectively to fight this. And so far we have a team of people that help out. Remember when we had the public informational meeting and they presented their plans and there were 2 women who were here from Hartford? Yep. And those 2 Hartford women are also working with attorneys that we can help assist with any of the planning for how we fight. Because it's multi-pronged. We have an issue with, I don't know about your concerns with it, but I don't mind. We talked about the idea of where the ash goes. Ash goes out into a hopper, is then loaded into a truck, plastic cover, tarp, whatever it might be, it goes on the back. They drive it over to their property with the rails. They're going to build a indoor area for the trucks to come in and then dump that into a hopper into the back of the train. The truck then gets washed before it comes out. So we have concerns with a couple of things. What is that ash made of? Why is it so important then to wash it every time going out? If they have a problem and a concern with that, why is it just a cover? And why isn't an indoor area for them to drive over to that train track? Where's the water going? I have concerns over PFAS. I have concerns over the aquifer in the area. The trash itself, how many trucks are really going to be coming in? There's a whole slew of things. And by the way, while we were doing all of this, just so you know, we had an issue that is still not answered from the state of Connecticut talking to the governor's office because they want to take away the energy credits for the wood burning plant. If they do that, then they're no longer in business. So it's a lot of issues all happening at the same time, but that's where we stand right now. I will hopefully come up with an answer for the next meeting as to what we do with maybe talking to the public about what their concerns are and also how do we fight it with numbers. I have to look at a dollar number.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate you explaining that to us because that's what people are asking all the time and that's what people want to hear, what we're doing, where we stand. But obviously 92 or 93% of the people who came out and voted against it. It's quite a few people, so now we have to see how much money they want to pony up.
Yeah, it really is do we have good money? Yeah. The question is how much is good? I mean, is 500,000 good? Or if you're sending a message to this company, is it, we're going to go up to $1 million and we're going to be able to then continue this fight for how long it takes to get done. That's, a good question. I would also have the attorneys here to discuss it as well.
Yeah, I mean, environment, of course, is at the forefront of everyone's concern. The aquifer, the trucks, the trains, and of course the truck traffic. congestion. So yeah, that's what we get out of the plan. Yeah, of course.
Yep, and just like I offered to you guys, I can go through the laundry list of things on my board about what's happening. I can probably do a video of everything. I always open door policy. If people want to come in and talk about it or have questions, concerns at any time. There's so much going on right now. A lot of things are still happening. Hopefully we get the budget passed and move forward. We'll find out next Monday.
Yeah, and everyone knows, that obviously you have an open door policy and they can come see you, but what we also got to respect is the fact that many people will never have that kind of availability because they work, they have kids, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why we definitely got to utilize our meetings here to get out, not necessarily everything from the board, because I know we got a lot of stuff on the board, so maybe we pick like one or two and just give an update, on certain things. But the trash plan has got to be something that comes up, pretty regularly, because we know it's not going away tomorrow.
I'm going to have to do some videotapes and have to do batches because there's only a certain amount of time you have allowed.
No, I think that's priority number one right now.
Yep. Anything else? Okay. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye at 7:50. Thank you.